The Predator, much like Jaws or Halloween or even The Terminator, is one of those movies that has a premise that is so specific that it makes it almost impossible for you to make a sequel that isn't just a rehashed version of the original. The first Predator, aside from being an endless source of memorable lines,
"You're bleeding, man.
I ain't got time to bleed.
There's something out there waiting for us, and it ain't no man.
If it bleeds, we can kill it.
Get to the chopper!
You're one ugly motherfucker.
This stuff will make you a goddamn sexual tyrannosaurus.
sweat, and sexy cigar-smoking faces.
Pontifex on their position.
Geez, Arnold, calm down. It's also a masterclass in screenwriting and action, and much of the script's quality comes from its simplicity. Space Monster tracks down and kills buff special ops soldiers in the jungle. That's it. We see these men go from cocky, arrogant killers
We're a rescue team, not assassins.
to desperate, broken men fighting for their lives. The movie subverts trope after trope of the macho buff dude killing everybody and exploding everything until we get a man the size of Arnold Schwarzenegger having to resort to cunning and deceit to defeat an enemy he's absolutely no match for. It is a pretty simple idea and premise, and you can't really change it much without it becoming something else. You have to have the hunt. So what do you do for part 2? You change the setting from a jungle to an urban jungle and make a fucking nightmare of a movie that has Danny Glover fist fighting and beating the Predator in a Power Ranger set. And Gary Busey. Then where do we go from here? Oh, remember that Easter egg from that terrible movie? So now we have Alien versus... No, stop. No, I'm not even gonna go there. And don't come to me like, but Watcher, the idea didn't come from that scene. There is a comic book that... Look, what matters is the movies. Ain't nobody got time for them comics, and reading hurts my brain. Then we had Predators in 2010, which was a fine movie actually. I mean, it is the exact same idea as the first one, but it's pretty well done, and it even expands a little on the Predator mythology. And it stands to me as the only decent Predator besides the first one. And then we had that prank Shane Black pulled on everyone on 2018. I mean, come on, that's obviously a joke, right? There's no way the man who wrote that is the same one who wrote the first one. You can't make one of the greatest action movies of all time and then suck this bad on the same IP. And then, out of nowhere, at least out of nowhere to me, a trailer came out for the new Predator film. Seriously, I had no idea this movie was coming out. And then half because I didn't care anymore after so many fuck-ups, especially the last one, and half because I actually feared what might come out of it, just didn't pay any attention to it. Any attention at all. Couldn't even bother to watch the trailer. But then I noticed that the name of the film was already a subversion, and that the girl had her face painted with the Predator's blood on the poster. And then I was like, oh no, God, by the end of this movie the Predator is gonna be making this girl a sandwich, isn't he? Did Rian Johnson direct this? But then I looked it up and saw that then Okay, then it is. The same guy who directed 10 Cloverfield Lane was behind it, and it actually made me want to see it. And if you haven't seen 10 Cloverfield Lane yet, you should. It's a great thriller. Then the movie came out and I went to see it expecting to sit on my computer afterwards to do this video like,
oh boy, here I go killing again.
But lo and behold, the movie is actually pretty decent. It's actually good. The story follows Naru, a Comanche girl who wants to prove herself as a hunter, going against the customs and traditions of her tribe. And on a quick side note, I do not know the first thing about American history besides 4th of July 1776 and Abraham Lincoln, so I do not know or care if anything on this movie is historically accurate or not. We're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about a space alien hunting people, and the quality of the film must not depend on actual historical accuracy, alright? Alright, so to be a hunter, Naru must go through some sort of proving called... So she and some tribe mates, including her brother, go after a mountain lion that attacked another Comanche young man. Along the way, she finds evidence of weird animal killings and try to warn the others that there's something else going on. They find the mountain lion and she fails her proving, but the girl is hellbent on proving herself as a worthy hunter and warning her tribe about what she saw in the wilderness. What follows then is a nice action thriller where the dynamics of predator and prey shift constantly. Natives hunt wild animals and wild animals hunt natives. Frenchmen hunt natives and natives hunt Frenchmen, and the predator hunts everybody. And right off the bat, Prey achieves a noteworthy feat of being different than any other Predator film we have had before. Sure, we have the hunt, but the focus is on Naru's journey in a plot that, much like the original, is extremely simple. We don't know anything about the Comanche, we don't know anything about the Frenchman, we don't know anything anything about the Predator, and we don't even know anything about Naru herself. Everything we need to know to follow the story is efficiently told in the first few minutes of the film. These are the characters, this is what they're gonna do, got it. And the honest way in which they portray a female character in a ruthless, violent environment dominated by males greatly adds to Naru's character. Naru is portrayed as being less physically capable than her fellow male hunters and has to constantly make up for it with her stealth, craftiness, and skills. Anytime push comes to shove and brute force is employed, she is often bested and taken prisoner. Yes, of course there is poetic license, but nothing that takes you out of the movie. And this takes us to another great achievement of this film. It pays homage to the other entries in the franchise without forcing it or being obnoxious about it, and without having characters wink at the screen every 5 minutes. It is a really well done movie right up until the end of the second act, when a single scene single-handedly breaks the movie's logic and everything they had been building up until then, and I just don't understand it. Where did this come from? I mean, it is bad enough that the dude is going to find a horse while the girl infiltrates the enemy camp, but what is this? Wasn't this girl trying to be a hunter? Well, why does she want to be a hunter if she's already fucking Batman? Not only does she kill 4 or 5 men, she does it without taking any damage, when not even the Predator managed to do it in the very previous scene, and it wasn't the first time. The Predator injures himself in almost every encounter, be it with a human being or with an animal, which is, by the way, another nice detail in this movie. The Predator has much more rudimentary weaponry and tactics, and is almost a warrior instead of the lethal, stealthy killer he was in previous entries, 300 years in the future. Also, this sequence muddles what constitutes a threat to the Predator and had me asking questions and thinking about stuff I shouldn't be thinking about. Stuff like, how is this almost dead man a threat to him? While Naru's brother is fighting the Predator, she's right next to them and she's trying to shoot him. Even then, was she not a threat to him? Does he not see her? And don't give me the, oh, it's because he's fighting the brother. No, in the last fight scene, he killed 45 people at the same time like fucking Neo. Then he kills the brother after a fantastic fight scene and then stares at Naru for like 10 seconds before walking towards her. Was he finally going to do something about her? If the answer is yes, then why would she need this dude as bait? And if the answer is no, then why not? We then go to the final showdown, which is a direct callback to the end of the first one, and there's nothing wrong about that, except for the fact that they made Naru able to hold herself in hand-to-hand combat with the Predator. Now, just why on earth would you do something like that? Dutch couldn't do shit in hand-to-hand combat with his Predator, and her War Chief brother didn't even try it a few scenes ago in this very same movie. But watch her, he was already pretty hurt at that point. Yes, but he also murdered 150 people and killed a bear with his bare hands, so just no. No! And also, if anyone watching this video could explain to me why that helmet aimed at the Predator's head in the end, I would appreciate some enlightenment, because I have absolutely no idea. I have watched it, rewatched it, and still have absolutely no clue. She then kills the Predator and the movie ends. But let's back up a little bit real quick. Some of the main themes on this movie are not conforming, overcoming limitations, and proving that you are more capable than everyone thinks you are. Naru is a woman who wants to assume a role that is typically a male one. She wants to be a hunter, she wants to be seen as dangerous, and ultimately she wants to be seen as a threat to the Predator. And that is all fine, great story. Except that the way the climax and the conclusion are done directly conflicts with the main themes and message of the movie. The only reason Naru even reaches the end of the film is because she's not seen as a threat by the Predator. She's only alive because he let her be, time and time again. And then, once she realizes this, she takes advantage of the fact and sets up all kinds of traps to have an upper hand against the monster. And not only does this defeat the purpose of her ordeal, it also makes the Predator look like a dumbass. It doesn't look like she proved anything, and it doesn't make her look stronger or a worthy opponent that bested the Predator. It makes her look like a sneaky backstabber that took advantage of her opponent because he literally let her. I get what they were going for, but I don't think they delivered it, like at all. Look, I think for the most part they did a great job with this film. The themes, the story they came up with, it was all great. Nothing original, but it was all fine. And the execution was fine up until 2/3 into the movie when someone decided to destroy everything. And the worst part is that not only these things break the film's own logic, they happen throughout the entire third act. And this is how the movie ends. And it really leaves a bad taste in the mouth. And that's a real shame because it can leave you with the impression that the whole movie was shit. And it really wasn't. Either way, and especially if you could go through the final act not bothered by this stuff, Prey is a movie that takes on the incredibly hard task of filling the shoes of one of the greatest action movies of all time, and it does it mostly right. It is a completely different movie that does its own thing while still paying homage and respecting what came before it. It is a flawed but truly worthy prequel.